Yo, what is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to Duet Night Abyss. A lot of people are building their characters, a lot of people are investing into getting some good demon wedges, and generally speaking, I haven't really heard or seen a lot of people talk about these gleaming wedges. So in this video, I want to go over pretty much everything that I want to know about this, everything or like all the questions that I have surrounding this wedge. And I'm going to do a bunch of testing in this video. So I like the app quite a lot, and I don't really edit out all too much, so this video is going to be pretty long. If there's a specific question that you have surrounding those weapons, there is timestamps in the description that might lead you to an answer for what you're looking for. So yeah, we're going to test quite a lot of stuff, and to do so in this video, I'm going to be using the training mode back there, and I'm going to be using Lisbol as my example character. The reason I'm going to use Lisbol is because one of the questions that I have when it comes to the Demon Wedge, and let me actually show you what it's supposed to do, is I'm wondering if a consonance weapon does count as a weapon that can add to this passive. Not only do I want to know if the consonance weapon counts, I also want to know if it counts when I'm not using it. So for example, when I'm using Lisbol and my ultimate is not activated, if it works. And then to go even a step further, I want to see if it could work when the character that isn't on field is getting use out of this. So for example, if I were to put this weapon, or sorry, if I were to put this wedge on a character like, I don't know, Margie, for example, and I have my Lisbol as a combat partner not using her ultimate, I wonder if that also counts towards this. So yeah, those are a couple of things that I want to test. Very quickly before I do jump into this, this is the build that I'm currently going for. I'm going to be doing some tests with and without this wedge, but I'll keep every other wedge on as is. Now this wedge does not increase anything else aside from the damage I'm supposed to be doing when I have a greatsword equipped. So I'll be taking it off, I'll be putting it on, but it should not be changing my damage numbers outside of the passive, which is going to be important in just a second. Also important is that I do have Intron 2, or sorry, Intron 2, but it doesn't really matter. I have Intron 1, which increases my character attack by 35% after I use a skill. We'll be using the skill to check out what damage we're doing. So yes, I will be buffing myself, but I will be consistently buffing myself so that the tests that we are doing are not in danger of being tainted. What's quite important to know as well is that we're going to be testing everything on the same boss at the same level, or I guess same enemy at the same level, to try to get the most consistent result as possible. And later on, when I do use a character that is going to be holding a weapon to see if it does increase the damage and by how much it increases the damage, I'm also going to be, or I will have to use someone that doesn't buff my main character. So for example, if I were to use Niffle in this example to do my tests, that's pretty bad because this passive gives me extra attack. So by summoning her with a weapon, I'll be getting stats from her. So we're not going to be doing that. We are going to be using my outsider, who is both Animo, who does not give any buffs to the rest of the party, and who also, even if you have this thing right here, if you have this thing equipped, or if you have it leveled, which I don't, it should only give you Animo attack. So yeah, those are a couple of parameters. Also, one of my main questions here is, it says that it increases my damage by 18%, but I wonder how much that 18% actually matters, because if it is early on in the calculation, then it is not going to matter at all because there's a bunch of other factors that come in. But if it takes my calculated damage and then adds an 18% to it, then that might be pretty good. Now, keep in mind that I actually don't have the ability to go up to 18% because I only have one single claymore. Luckily for us, the main test here is to see if it works with my consonance weapon, which is also a claymore, a greatsword. So yeah, that's all the yapping I have to do to, I guess, intro the video. Let's jump straight into it. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test my damage without the wedge on. So I'm going to just test my damage at this point, at this setup. I'll show you everything I have on, although it really doesn't matter because I'm not going to be changing anything aside from this mod right here. But yeah, let's jump straight into it. We're gonna grab the first enemy here. We're gonna make him level 150, and we're gonna make him invincible and inactive. This is going to be our ground zero for testing. right? So we'll spawn him in. I'm going to use one skill, which is going to trigger my passive, and then we'll use another one right there. So I'm doing roughly 26,000 damage with my big hit. Where the frick did he just go? With my big hit, 25k, 26k. That one I didn't really see all too well, 27k. Yeah, we'll do this a couple of times. So 27 seems to be our highest number that we're getting. Yeah, around like it's in between 26 and 25k. So what's also maybe important is that... Okay, we'll have to do our testing a bit differently, I just realized, because I'm going to have to put Serenity on to make this a bit more consistent. So kind of stupid of me, but I need my Sanity gen to be up a bit quicker. So I'm going to wait for a while here, and we'll do our test again. We should be doing less damage now because we used to have Morale with our last wedge, and now we have Invincible... active mode, and now we don't have morale anymore. So let's try this again. So we'll use a skill to start our passive, and then we'll go again. So 22.9, 22.8. That one I didn't see, but I think it was 22.2, 21, 22. So you can already tell how much difference morale is making here, by the way. 23. So I don't see anything going above 23 here. Keep in mind, we also something quite important. We'll be testing everything with Lisbal's skill. What I should have mentioned as well is I'm going to show you that Lisbal's skill is not influenced by using my ultimate, which is then going to be important because I want to test if my ult counts as having a claymore or a greatsword on. Yeah, you saw the damage difference that we were just doing. It's completely unrelated to this video, but what I want to mention is I'm going to use my skill. This skill isn't supposed to be doing a lot of damage, but if we are already getting an increase of like a couple thousand, then that is going to be exponentially better with bigger skills, like for example spamming my ultimate. But yeah, that's maybe aside from the point. I want to quickly show you that, so we're testing it here. Your ultimate, I'll let you quickly read it if you would like, but it doesn't actually influence the damage that your skill does. I tested it earlier just to be sure as well, but I want to show you here so that I don't get anyone in the comments saying like, oh, you're using your ultimate, that's why your skill's doing more. It shouldn't, and it doesn't do more damage. Passive also does not have an effect on it. Maybe I'll show you the things as well, just to make sure everyone's on the same page here. Okay, so we've tested the numbers that we're getting, and I'm actually going to write down right here. We've tested that we're getting roughly 23k at the highest number of damage. What I want to do now is we're going to spawn in the same enemy. We're going to put this on, and we're going to see how much damage we are doing. So technically speaking, I am not running any... Can I still spawn? I can't enter my thingy anymore. Technically, I haven't increased any stats. The only thing I now have is a passive that should make me do more damage when a claymore is out. Now, I still have my polearm out, so technically speaking, this should be exactly the same. But if we are getting higher numbers, that already means, or there's a very... Can you maybe stop talking, Lisbel? That already increases the chances that a consonance weapon just being on my character, even though I haven't pressed my ult yet, is going to affect our damage. So let's see, we'll test it out, and we'll see how much we're getting. 21.7, that doesn't seem to be higher, I didn't see that one. 22.4, 22k, 22k. So 21.5, so we're even getting lower numbers than we were earlier. 21. But it doesn't seem to be that different. Can I actually... I kind of don't like the fact that you are here, though. Yeah, we're getting... Oh, we got a 23 there. But as far as I can tell, the damage did not increase at all between the first initial test and then this test. Which means, or at least it should suggests to me, that having a consonance weapon on... doesn't, or like having it in your kit doesn't include it as it being equipped. So we're gonna do the same thing now. We're gonna keep on our mod, but we're gonna be using our ultimate now to see if that consonance weapon does count as 6%. So again, we have it on. We're gonna have one greatsword equipped because we'll be using our ultimate, and we'll see if that counts. So again, we'll spawn an enemy, put him at level 150. Invincible in active mode. Okay, we're gonna start with using our ults. And then we're gonna use one skill to get the buff going, and let's try. Let's go. 22.8. 22.4, I think that was. 21. 23, but it doesn't seem to be that much higher. 21.8. 22. 22. Yeah, and 21. So it does not seem to count my what do you call it? My consonance weapon as a greatsword, which is actually kind of disappointing. Now, I would want to try testing it out by equipping a greatsword on Lisbol myself, but the problem is that I'm going to be losing 24% skill damage. So I think what we're actually gonna do, what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna equip this polearm. We can keep the wedge on, I guess. Yeah, we can keep the wedge on. We're gonna equip this polearm just because it doesn't give me a specific bonus like my Wayne Wraith did with skill damage, and we're gonna test again. So I'm gonna put an enemy down at level 150, spawn, and I guess we don't need to be using our ult. Let's see how much damage we're getting. So we got 17k, we're getting 19k, we're getting a 19k again, 19 as well. I didn't see that one. 18, 19. So it doesn't seem like we're going all the way up, or we're going above 20k. I'm gonna put my quote-unquote signature claymore, even though it's not even remotely signature for her. We're gonna put this claymore on. It also does not give us any buffs that we could use, because this crit chance that is shown over here is only towards weapon damage. It's not going to work on my skill. So we're gonna quickly equip this, and now, by all means, this should proc. So the thing I'm testing here now is how much does the 6% increase actually do? Again, first enemy, level 150, and we'll put him up like this, and let's see. So I'm getting a 19.3, I'm getting an 18, a 19.4, I didn't see that one, an 18.9, so we're not getting that big an increase. 18k, and 19k. We're actually not really getting an increase going here, even though I do have my claymore equipped, which is interesting. Let's despawn him. And let's quickly check. Okay, so increases your damage dealt by 6% per greatsword equipped by you or your combat partner. Okay. Let's actually try something else, because I feel like at this point it is 6% and it's negligible, because maybe it is 6%. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna equip the what do you call it? I guess I'll equip the Psyche signature for now. And can I do it like this? I think I can. We are going to, I guess, take out our Tabithy and grab our outsider, load out, and then we're going to put the weapon on him. Equip, and then equip him here. So I'm gonna spawn the enemy again, and we're gonna do a couple of instant, or like a couple E's worth of damage, and see how much we are getting. Wait, maybe I just realized, is my Genimon affecting anything? I don't think so. I don't think it's really... No, it doesn't seem to be influencing anything. Okay, so we're going to spawn the enemy again. We're going to do a couple of E's, and then we're also going to spawn Outsider to see if we are getting a significant damage increase. But I guess the problem with doing these tests is that, let me see, 150, is that your damage is kind of inconsistent for some reason. Like, I could be hitting 18Ks or 17Ks, and I don't know what the difference is. You know, even if I'm not looking at my my wedges. Okay, I'm gonna quickly check if everything is in order. Yes, I've got the Gleaming Greatsword on. Okay, let me spawn in my buddy again. 150. So yeah, let's try to get a couple of E's going. So we're at 19k, 19.2, 19.1. I didn't see that one. 18.7, 18, 17. So got a buff going, didn't see that one. 18.2, 18.2. As far as I could tell, the 19.2... Okay, I need to be doing this a bit differently. The 19.2 was the highest number we were getting, right? Yeah, it was. Okay, so let's kill this guy, and before I actually put Outsider on field, I want to quickly make sure that he's not using any demon wedges at all, so that he cannot influence my damage. So there we go. And even if he did have the set 1... just resolve, so he does not have the ability to impact the damage. Okay, let's spawn our feller again and see if we can go above 19.2 with Outsider on. So we'll spawn him here, and we'll see. So, okay, we're already getting a 20. A 19.4, which is kind of inconsistent. An 18, which is weird. But I saw 20, but oh, this is bad. Okay, well, I guess we'll be chasing him down. 19.6. Okay, 20k. 20k. I'm gonna despawn him. And what I also want to try, because obviously we are seeing a damage increase. It is not so significant, but that kind of makes sense because it's only 6%. What I'm gonna do now is I'll keep Outsider on, but we'll also be using our ult to see if we can go like to 21k or something like that, because technically it should, well, technically it should count my consonance weapon as a great sword. So let's try this again. Put our feller in, and then hope that my Outsider doesn't punch him too far away. Use ult. So now I have a Claymore equipped. Use a skill, and let's see. Okay, we got 18, which is pretty low. We got a 20.4. We got a 20.2, and I think I've already, yeah, this is already very obvious. So it does actually, like, it counts when a combat partner has the weapon. It counts when you have the weapon equipped, but it very clearly does not count your consonance weapon as a weapon of that specific type, which is actually probably the only thing that you really need to know whether you want to run this or not, because it just seems dog shit. Honestly, most of my testing that I wanted to do was within the assumption that it would work on consonance weapons, and it doesn't. So, I mean, I guess I can kind of kiss all of that goodbye. What I want to quickly show you as well is how much you get from ascending the mod, because maybe this is something you're interested in. And as far as I can tell, the 6% goes up to 7, and then the 18 goes up to 21. So you could get 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you can probably get up to, if I'm seeing that right, 33% extra if you are using that specific weapon. Now, the only case in which I can see this, let me actually despawn this fella real quick. The only case in which I can see this being helpful is if you have weapons of the same type that can specifically be used for buffing. So if I'm running Lisbol, for example, and I am running a Wainwraith, which I should be running, and then, for example, I mean, I've got the Destructor on now, but I should be using the dual pistols. This mod could be useful if you, for example, have 2 other characters that run a polearm. So then I've got Wainwraith right here, which gives me skill damage, and then 2 other polearms that could help my teammates. Now, the problem is that, generally speaking, you kind of want your off-fielders or your combat partners to also be able to add some damage to, or not damage, but give you some buffs. So one of the better combat partner weapons that you could be using is, for example, the Arclight Apocalypses. But if I'm using Lisbol, I don't want to be running a bow as well. And then obviously I need to get a 3rd bow going as well, just to be able to get the value from both the buff from the bow, or sorry, the buff from the bow, and then also the buff from the wedge. And obviously I would need to use Gleaming bow here in that case. As far as I can tell, I've done some thinking. The only thing that I can think of in which this could be useful is Intron 6 Niffle allows you to use a ranged weapon to proc your skill. So one of these bows, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Embla Inflorescence, is supposed to be really good on her because you can keep shooting with I6, with her Intron 6, and then proc the skill. And in this case, if I'm running Niffle on this bow, I could be running a support on, for example, the Arclight Apocalypses, and then another support on whatever weapon, like a Soul Rend. And in that case, I think it could be worth if you fully invest into max ascending the mod, because you're going to get 33% extra damage going at the end. But until you reach that point, especially now that we've tested that it doesn't really influence a consonance weapon, there's honestly no point in doing it. So yeah, I mean, this is a 20-minute video. I really hope to get some different results with this, but in short, the conclusion, this is dog shit. Right, so I was about to start rendering, and then I realized there's maybe one more thing that I should be testing before I throw this video out, because I feel like it's only fair to do so. I did some testing, obviously, with the greatsword, but I only have one greatsword. So I farmed up the Gleaming polearm as well, because I can actually get 3 of these going at the same time. So what I want to do is, I'm going to quickly take it off for now. What I want to do is I want to go in and see with that 18% damage increase how significant it really is. And, you know, obviously it's going to be a higher increase than the 6%, so we might actually be able to see if it is 18% on top of our damage that we got, or if it's 18% somewhere earlier in the calculations. I felt like I kind of had to do this, because otherwise the video doesn't really fully make sense if I can't test the passive to the fullest extent. So what I will do is I'm going to go into my tactical backpack, and I'm going to need to grab 2 characters that cannot buff me in any way possible. So I've already completely forgot what I do, or what my Sybil does. It doesn't seem like she buffs here. No, this doesn't buff. Trigger bonus effects. It doesn't. So we're going to be using Sybil, and we're going to be using Outsider. So let me just... I guess Outsider can stay on. Can I quickly remove this weapon? So we'll put our Psyche weapon on our Outsider, and then we're going to grab Sybil, and we're going to put this polearm on. And I'm going to quickly check polearm, polearm, polearm. So we got 1 polearm, 2 polearm, and then I am using a polearm as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Keep in mind, this does give me extra skill damage, so what I'm going to do to just kind of finish this off is test my skill damage with everyone summoned 3 polearms without the mod, and then I'm going to slot the mod in afterwards to see what we get. So I should probably, as I just said, also equip these 2 characters. Yes, Smarty Pants, 1 and 2. We'll summon both of them, 1 and 2. And then level 150, invincible and active, spawn, user skill, and see what we get. So we're getting a 26, I think? 24. Kind of difficult to see. 24. 25. I kind of want to see what the highest number is that we can get, but I'm having a difficult time seeing the numbers. 25 as well. I'm happy I don't see their numbers, to be honest. 27 seems to be the highest. Oops, I don't want to attack into that. Let me just... 27.3. 26.8. So a 27.3 seems to be the highest that we are currently getting. So we're going to despawn, get our summons back to us. Wait a second. Okay, now... The problem is I think... Oh my god, are you kidding me? I actually need to outweight Sybil. Oh my god, dude. This game... Like, it has some really good elements, but then some of the stuff, like, for example, testing shit like this, come on, like, what is that? Do we actually need to fully skip out of it? The problem here is that the game thinks I'm in combat, which for some reason doesn't allow me to, you know, open my inventory, for one, but also I can't desummon her to get rid of that because I'm still in combat, because that thing is counted as an enemy. Holy smokes, this game. Okay, so... Let's put this thing on again and see how much more we can get than the 27 we had earlier. So, Gleaming polearm, which should at this point increase my damage up to 18%, and up to 33 if I fully max it out. I'm curious. Let's see. enemy, 150 spawn, kill, and let's see what we get. Oh, I need to spawn him again. Spawn him in again though. Okay, so wait, what? Oh, a 30k. Okay, we're getting a 31. I didn't see that one, but it seemed to be somewhere in the 30s as well, right? Yeah, 31. Okay, it's difficult to see. Why is my sanity generation so slow for some reason? Let's do it again. We're getting a 29 now. I'm gonna do one more, and then on screen I'll show you a calculation in just a second to see if it's actually 28% or if it's somewhere further away from it. Okay, yeah, all right, that's all the testing I wanted to do. Okay, so this outro is a bit awkward because, you know, it's over editing, but basically it comes down to the fact that the 18% is at the end of the calculation, which means it's a good thing because you will get a third of your damage extra if you max this out entirely and get it to 33%. Just, you know, you've got the problem going that you'll actually have to use the same weapon types, but it does seem to be at the end of the calculation, which is good. Anyways, thanks for watching. If there's any questions, make sure to leave a comment below and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.